As a channel that talks a lot about the psychology of self-improvement, it seems only fitting that I make a video about the hottest man in news today, Jordan Peterson, a clinical psychologist who talks a lot about self-improvement. Peterson was already gaining popularity due to his lectures and interviews on YouTube about self-improvement, the anti-left-wing and right-wing extremist ideologies, the meaning of life, advanced psychological concepts, and even the hierarchical nature of the lobster species. But he has recently exploded into stardom after his interview with Cathy Newman on the UK's Channel 4 News, in which he systematically disintegrated every false claim and accusation she presented with a type of relaxed swagger you only see in the movies. And shortly thereafter, he released his self-authored book 12 Rules for Life, An Antidote to Chaos, which is now the best-selling book in North America according to Amazon's charts. But why is Peterson so popular? I mean, there's obviously something going on when a middle-aged, hyper-intellectual university prof becomes one of the hottest celebrities around and one of the most impactful voices in the realms of self-help, philosophy, psychology, politics, and spirituality simultaneously. It really makes you wonder why people are listening to him, and what makes his message different than everyone else's. Now, if you're watching this video, there's a very good chance you've seen at least one of his lectures, interviews, or live streams. There's also a good chance you were drawn into his message and left feeling either motivated, intellectually stimulated, or perhaps even morally challenged. And of course, there are a few people that are just triggered by what he says, but they are definitely a minority. And I think the very fact that he engages people on so many levels is what makes Jordan Peterson so popular, because he doesn't just tell you what you need to do, but he tells you why you need to do it on a practical level, how doing that thing affects you on a psychological level, and why doing that thing is important on a philosophical and spiritual level. And it's this depth that gives his message substance and affects people in a profound way. To break things down, Peterson often plays the role of strict father, psychologist, and spiritual mentor. And he's not any of these things separately, he's all of them together. He finds a way to thread each of these patterns of thought together into a unified, colorful, and impactful message that stimulates multiple levels of your comprehension. For instance, Jordan Peterson will say something like, clean your room and set your house in perfect order, because it will give you a sense of accomplishment, which will increase your self-efficacy, which will improve your ability to be relied upon by other people, which will make the world a better place and give meaning to what you do. It's the linking of these three modes of thinking that not only gives you more of a reason to do the thing he's suggesting, but you almost feel as if it's your duty as a human being to do that thing. Pay attention to these categories and how seamlessly he navigates between them.
Stop saying and doing things that make you feel weak. Just all you have to do is pay attention to that. Some things you do will make you feel disintegrated. It's a physiological sensation. Disintegrated and weak. It's something that Carl Rogers commented on. Some things improve your integrity and some things disintegrate you. Now, the things that disintegrate you, you often do to impress other people, or because you're taking a shortcut, or you're escaping what you know to be your moral obligation. And your moral obligation stems naturally from your aims. Like once you have aims, you have moral obligations. They come together because the moral obligation is what you need to do in order to obtain the aim. And if you don't have an aim, well then you're aimless, so that's not a solution.
You can also find him doing this in his book 12 Rules for Life. Chapter 2, or rule number 2, is called Treat Yourself Like Someone You Are Responsible for Helping, and the text right under it is, why won't you just take your damn pills? Sound familiar? Then he goes on to talk about how a great deal of deaths and illnesses could be avoided if patients actually took their prescribed medication according to their doctor's orders, and how, statistically, human beings are more likely to adhere to the commands of their veterinarians to treat their pet than they are to their doctor to treat themselves, which is a very interesting psychological observation about how people treat themselves these days. And then shortly after, we get a subchapter called The Oldest Story and the Nature of the World, in which he talks about creation mythology and the biblical book of Genesis. I'm sure you're catching the pattern here. It's this style of speech and delivery of message that has contributed significantly to his popularity and broad appeal. And I think it's because his message has something for everybody. People looking for a quick motivational kick in the butt will get it. People interested in learning more about human psychology and behavioral patterns will gain some valuable, relevant, and well-researched insight. People interested in finding meaning and purpose in life have a pretty good chance of finding some meaning and purpose, or at least gaining some interesting perspectives to add onto their previously held beliefs and philosophies. And if you're like me, you may just find yourself in sheer awe discovering how each of these categories may be so intimately connected. In any case, his message is complex, multi-layered, and frequently fascinating, and I would highly recommend checking out some Jordan Peterson videos here on YouTube and listening to what he has to say. If you like this video, hit that like button, and if you're interested in future videos that I make, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Like I said earlier, I'm currently reading Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life, and I'm loving it so far. So if you haven't picked it up yet and you're looking for a free way to support the channel, then use my links below to pick up your copy. In any case, that's all for today. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.